Please watch this video if you're planning on marketing your home service business, because you need to have two things in place in order to make sure you have as much success as possible for your home service business's campaigns. And hey, I'm Carl Stoy, the founder of Stoy Media, and over the past year and a half, almost 2 years now, we've been helping service businesses scale with paid ads, getting them more people in the pipeline for chances to close those projects. So what we do is get chances for you to close projects. That's what we do. And we supply leads on a pay-per-lead basis, agency. If you're interested in that, click the link in the description, book a call, and we can talk there. But let's talk about what do you need in place before you run any sort of ads for your home improvement company. Because I can tell you, the number one reason why people fail working with Stoy Media is because they don't have this in place. And that's their processes / back end. You want to ensure that your back end is actually able to handle the volume that we can send. You want to ensure that the company that you have, like the processes, your receptionist, your CSRs, or whoever you have setting appointments and closing deals, your salesman too, you want to make sure that all of them have a process to do what they're doing, and you want to make sure that that process is good. Honestly, even just having a process for setting appointments is better than a lot of people, because like I said, there's a lot of companies out there who don't even have any sort of processes. They end up working with an agency, they end up getting volume, setting appointments, and not closing those deals. Or they end up working with an agency, getting leads, and not turning them into appointments and wondering, why are they not responding? And so I want to help you by giving you a good setting process. And I can't really help you, but the other one is a sales process. So right now, I can tell you, companies that really target hailstorms, they keep consistently getting work from hail damage and fighting with insurance companies for ages and all this money and lawyer fees just to fight an insurance company to get a claim so you can do it, though the homeowner may pay $20,000 in a deductible. Usually those companies that have a high insurance focus, they usually have little to no sales process, because it's simply show up. Do you want to get a roof for $6,000 instead of $20,000? Yep, let's do it. Maybe I'll even bang a couple of hail marks, so it'll definitely go through. Like, that's the type of sales process that an insurance first company would have. And that's why companies that fit that criteria of not having any sort of sales process tend to fail with agencies. And then for the setting process, I'll actually give you a couple actionable tips to get a good setting process. And number one, the most important, most affecting your set rates, aka how many leads do you get, how many turn into appointments, what's that percentage look like, is how fast you call. So if you cannot call within 30 seconds, if you cannot set appointments by calling people within 30 seconds, you need to fix this. Not, you should, not, okay, yeah, I'll call them when I get the chance. Come on, I'm busy. You are literally going to spend your money on marketing, waste it, and then wonder why this never works, because you aren't calling the leads within 30 seconds. You're calling them in 30 minutes or an hour or whenever you get the chance, which is never. Not only that, you should have a good process and a good follow-up sequence, which I haven't talked about very much before, but follow-up sequence. Meaning, when a new lead comes in, they may not respond the first time around. The really good companies that call within 30 seconds may get a 20 to 30% set rate, depending on how good they are at a couple other things. But that means that 70% of people will not answer the phone. And so what ends up happening is you may need to text them. You may need to just call them later, because hey, someone may have submitted that form, but they submitted that form when they probably shouldn't have been on their phone in the middle of work. So they're not just going to answer the phone in the middle of work to just be like, yeah, I'm looking for a roof inspection. Could you come through? They're not going to do that. Instead, they're probably going to answer the phone when they get home if they remember. And the thing is, you need to follow up with them so that they do remember to answer. But if you aren't sending a text as soon as they come in, you're automatically losing people who were interested but didn't have a way to contact you because they didn't even know who was calling. Even if you left the voicemail, how many people look at their voicemail? I personally don't look at it very often. unless it's the company phone. But then I'm looking at the voicemail. Otherwise, some people aren't looking at the voicemail at all. And so you want to make sure you have a good follow-up sequence that is borderline kind of annoying, because that way you are benefiting the customer by continuing to follow up with them. Yes, you're going to lose some people no matter what. But I would rather lose that 1% of people following up way more and get a way better set rate and still lose that little 1% than set 10% of appointments and keep everyone happy, even though at the end of the day, my marketing now costs 3 times as much as the company that was slightly annoying and still closed more deals than me. So I would rather be a little bit annoying and still lose people than not lose people and also not even be able to make a profit on my marketing. So you want to have a good follow-up process, and you also want a good phone system. You want to ensure that your phone numbers are not showing up as spam likely, which, hey, I talked about this in an earlier video and someone left a comment saying, just don't telemarket and you won't have a spam call. Well, look, if you call, say 100 people and you have a 30% set rate, that means 70 people you called, phone call lasted less than a minute. Every phone carrier will see that type of traffic and wonder, why is this person having so many outbound dials that are not being answered? Maybe this person is a telemarketer. And even though you're not telemarketing, you're just calling your leads, it still may mark you as a telemarketer. So it's important that you have a good phone system that can potentially mark a phone as spam, or can show you when that phone was marked as spam. You can consistently switch out those phone numbers, use new ones, and be on your toes when it comes to those spam labels. Because if you're wondering why, hey, I'm calling within 30 seconds, but nobody's answering the phone, it's probably because they think you're a spam call. So of course they're not going to answer the phone. And so these are the 3 main ones that I would recommend that you focus on. Also the script, I forgot to say, but hey, as long as you answer the phone with, hey, this is Carl from XYZ Roofing. Saw you just submitted a form on Facebook. This is blank, right? Like, you just be polite and you express who are you, what company do you work with, and you sound professional. The script is fine. This is the most important one though. Like, you could literally get 20% more appointments simply by just calling within 30 seconds. And yeah, this is like the main reason why you'd want to make sure that you have a good setting process, because you can get a lot more appointments out of what you currently get. And for your sales process, I recommend that you look up another sales trainer. I'm not a sales guy, I'm the marketing guy. Technically, I do the online sales, but I'm the marketer. So I recommend that you look into someone else. But if you do not have a good sales process and you're insurance first, or you're used to only closing referrals, you do not know how to sell, you need to come to terms with that, and you need to start learning how to sell so that you can start actually closing deals. So if you have any questions, drop a comment, I'll answer it. Maybe even I'll make a video about it, explaining it, having more of a verbose answer. And like I said, if you're potentially interested in getting leads, click the link in the description, book a call, and we'll talk soon.